During your first couple weeks here, many of you might feel uncomfortable, lost, or you don't fit in, but it's only because you're in a new environment.
MSU offers the Counseling Center, which gives students free resources to anything that they may need.
This week, we're going to talk to an employee to have them tell you guys all they can offer you. Hi everyone, I'm here with Dr. Kimberly Sommers at the Counseling Center, who is a psychologist here, and we're going to ask her a few questions for you guys so you're prepared for your first year. How should students deal with the transition from high school to college?
I think that can be really tricky sometimes. Sometimes you have a lot of ideas about what college is going to be like, and then you get here and it's not quite that image that you had. So sometimes that can be kind of disappointing. Sometimes it is really, really great and awesome, and that's great. But I think one of the biggest, most important things you can do when you first get to college is make friends and make connections and get out of your room. I think sometimes that can be really hard for students to do if they feel a little overwhelmed. You know, oh, there's so much going on, there's so many people, I don't know what to do, and you can just sort of stay inside and watch Netflix all day. That's not going to help you sort of with that transition and making a life here. So I think one of the most important things to do is to get out of your room and come maybe to the CSU and join a registered student organization, or invite the other person in the hall who seems kind of lonely to dinner.
Many people are not extroverts. How would you suggest introverts break out of their shell?
I think you have to really embrace your introversion and recognize it as the strength that it really can be. I think sometimes extroverts take up so much space in our world and are louder, and I'm definitely an extrovert and I talk a lot. But I also need my alone time and my recuperation time, and so I think it's really important for introverts to really make sure they structure that into their schedule, to make sure that they're spending time recuperating from all the energy it might take to get out there and make some friends and get out there and join some student organizations. Make sure you do those things, but also know that if you're going to go to a big meeting because you're really excited about this one RSO, know that maybe after that you need to take a half hour just to chill.
How do students make life adjustments when living on their own?
Making those adjustments can be kind of hard. They're really important, right? Because college is really this kind of weird transitional time. So you go from living with your parents typically, right? And typically, they feed you and do your laundry and that sort of thing, to all of a sudden it's this weird space between high school and adulthood. And so you're independent but not quite totally independent, but you have to figure out the ways that you do laundry and the ways that you feed yourself and the ways that you incorporate exercise and friends and balance that with school and all the other things that you have to do. So partly it's about sort of making a schedule for yourself and keeping to it, and partly it's about sort of making sure that you try things out, and then if they don't work, don't worry about it, right?
Yeah.
Try something else.
If they had a bad high school experience, how can they start over again in college?
I think it's really important to recognize that college is very different from high school. You might feel, might be really hopeful that it's very different, right? Especially if you had a bad high school experience, and many people do. If you've kind of lived in the same place your whole life and you've had the same friends from age 4 or 5 to 18, college can feel really scary because you do have to make new friends. But you can see it as an opportunity to start fresh, to make new groups of friends, to make new connections, to try different things out. I think if you had a bad high school experience, that can really set you up to be maybe fearful of college at times, and maybe fearful of trying new things or meeting new people. But it's really important to recognize that your brain is different at 18, 19 than it was when you're 15 and 16. And college is a big enough space. There are, I forget how many, 16,000 students here, maybe?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, that's way bigger than your high school. You're going to be able to find your people. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important to recognize, you gotta find your friend group and a place to settle in. So even if you didn't really find those people in high school, or you thought you did, and then there was, bullying or rejection or whatever else, because that stuff happens, that in college, you're not stuck with the same people in the same way. I just spent the weekend with my best friends from college. Mm-hmm. We went to Seattle, and I've known them for 16 years now. 15 years now. I'm old, it's okay. 15, and those are some of my best friends, and I just happened to live on the floor with them my freshman year. I don't know how that happened. But it's very different from my experience in high school, which was much smaller. Like, I got to meet more people, and I think that's really important to recognize that there can be that difference.
Explain the difference of a college environment compared to the previous high school environment. You kind of already went into it a little bit.
Yeah. So kind of hard things. And so it's really about, like, you get to choose more options, and you get to choose more intentionally what you want to spend your time doing. So it's no longer kind of mom and dad being like, well, I'm going to sign you up for soccer and piano lessons, and what you now get to be like, all right, do I want to play intramural soccer? Do I want to try a different instrument? Do I want to join choir? Like, you get to really ask yourself those things versus like, well, I've always done this. You know what I mean? Or everybody in high school always expected this of me, or this is the label I had in high school. You get to choose a different label potentially. And the environment is just so different. Like, it's fun, you know, you live hopefully in the dorms, and you get to spend all of your time with fellow 18 to 22-year-olds. And you get to kind of run around, and like, it's just a very, like, it can be really freeing, and so you have to be careful of that, because that can, you know, if you find that you're struggling with anything, the counseling center, I'm going to plug us, can be a great option to talk through a whole lot of any concerns, really. So you don't have to have like a crisis in order to come in here. It can be, you know, I'm not sure about how to make this transition between high school and college. I'm not sure how to figure things out here, and this can be a place to talk through some of those issues.
Would you encourage students to stay on campus
Yes.
while they're here?
Yes.
What kind of benefits does it have?
This is going to get nerdy, but all of the research about attachment and success in college really speaks to the fact that if people feel connected to school, if they have friends here, if they get involved, they're more likely to graduate. So you can be super book smart and do super well in all of your classes in high school and do really well here, but if you don't have social connections, it's going to be harder and you're more likely to not succeed.
All right, and do you just want to talk about the counseling center a little bit and all the things that you guys offer students?
Sure.
And
yeah, so the counseling center, we are in CSU 285, so we're down kind of past the Multicultural Center on Oasis, and we offer free confidential counseling to students. So we have individual counseling, which is sort of like our most used service. We have up to 10 individual sessions per year available to students, and we also have group counseling, which is a great option. I love group counseling, and those are great options, especially for students who, you know, maybe struggle with relationships or have had some bad relationships or some of those bad experiences in high school even, and are fearful about how it might be different in college. Like, it's a great opportunity to meet with some new peers and really talk through that and feel way less alone. Because I think sometimes when folks are dealing with depression, anxiety, relationship problems, breakups, grief, trauma, anything, like, you can just feel like you're the only one. And we're here to say, like, no, like, you're not. And that can be really reassuring at times. And group is a great option for exploring some of that. We also have couples counseling, and we also have a Discovering Yourself workshop series that we advertise every semester that has sort of 45-minute to an hour-long presentations on different topics related to psychology or to functioning or whatever else. We have test anxiety one, and time management, and healthy relationships, all kinds of things that can be really great options for students who don't want to sign up for services but want some information on, like, how do I manage my time better. That's an opportunity that we have throughout each semester.
mm-hmm.
Basically, good luck, have a fun time freshman year. It'll go by so fast.